the life you want is on the other side of your ego. And what do I mean by this? A lot of times, most of us never realize our ego can keep us stuck. It's not that we lack confidence or we lack the talent or the ability to do whatever we want to do or achieve whatever we want to accomplish, but you cannot do it just because your ego is stopping you from doing so. And that is an uncomfortable truth to admit. And like I said earlier, when I'm talking about your ego, I'm not talking about your self-confidence or your ability to achieve or accomplish something. That is not what I'm talking about at all. In this scenario, when I'm talking about your ego, my ego, the word ego, I'm referring to the parts of us that needs to prove something right. Not just prove something right, but I'm referring to the parts of us that needs to prove something, that needs to believe that we are right at all times, that needs to feel chosen, and also that needs to feel validated, that seeks validation and needs validation to survive. Like I said, ego does not mean self-confidence or talent or your ability to do something or not do something, whatever that may be or whatever that is. Generally just means the fact that you need to prove something to someone or to yourself or whatever it is. That is what I mean in this context of this conversation that we're having right here and right now. And one thing I would like you to know is the fact that your ego doesn't want peace. It doesn't want confirmation. It just wants to be proven right. It just wants to win. It comes above your own needs because the goal of your ego is to win, and not just to win but also just to feel superior in every situation, or not just every situation but also to feel superior when faced with rejection. And sometimes that is hard for most people to sit down with. It's very uncomfortable emotions, and not just emotions but a very uncomfortable feeling for anyone to have to experience or go through in this life. But we are here to break that down. Not just to break that down, but also to understand why we feel this way, why we sometimes let our ego come before our own needs, and how we can also overcome that and, you know, try to make that one step to be better or to kill your ego or to have an ego death. Because without an ego death, there's no way you're going to live the dream life you want to live. You're always seeking validation and you're seeking to prove something to someone or to yourself. And sometimes what it is you're trying to prove doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things if you think about it. There's something I always talk about, always talk about. If you know me, you're my friend, or we've ever sat down to have a deep conversation, I will most likely mention this, and which is the sunken cost fallacy. What is the sunken cost fallacy? Is the idea that, oh my god, I've spent so much time doing this, invested way too much energy and effort into this, and just because I've invested this amount of energy, I cannot let this go. I have to keep going for it. I have to chase whatever it is I'm chasing. And this can apply to jobs, can apply to career, can apply to education, can apply to relationships. It can apply to every part of your life. It doesn't just have to be one specific thing. And this is such a big lie, and that is why it is called the sunken cost fallacy. It's a fallacy. It is a lie. It is not true, because a lot of times most of us get stuck in certain situations, certain environments, certain patterns, behavior, just because we feel like, you know what, I need to prove something to somebody, I need to prove something to myself, I need to prove something. Whatever it is you're trying to prove, you get stuck on a life path or purpose that you're not supposed to be anymore, that's not calling you, it's not your calling anymore. But just because, oh my god, I've spent 6 years doing this, I've spent 5 years doing this, there's no way I can leave this behind, there's no way I have to leave this and, you know, pursue something else. But then by doing this and by believing in this, you get stuck. You keep on adding more years, 5 years, 10 years to this life that you are living, because you feel like you've invested so amount of years in the past, and because of that amount of years you invested, there's no way you're going to let it go. Meanwhile, you have much more ahead of you that is yet to come, that you don't even know yet, you're not aware of it yet. But just because of the past, you're letting the past hold you down from not achieving what you're supposed to do in the future. Yeah. And in this idea of the sunken cost fallacy, where does your ego come in place? How does your ego play its own specific role? It's more or less, you think about it, for some people, it's not even about the time they've invested in it. It's just more or less of, oh my god, this is, everyone knows about this. Everyone sees me doing this. They see that, oh, I've been in medical school, I've been in dental school, I've been in law school for set amounts of years, or maybe I've been doing this set hobby, or I'm an artist, I've been dancing for these years, and so because of that, I have to feel this. And that is the ego speaking, not even the amount of time you've invested in said hobby or said career path you've chosen or said relationship. It's more or less of, oh my god, I've been with this person for 3 years, for 2 years. What are people going to say if it ends now? And that is your ego speaking, because you're seeking validation from other people or from hearsay, oh they said this, oh they said that. And a lot of time, it's not even about, oh, what people are even going to say. Sometimes it's what you're telling yourself in your head, because you tell yourself, if I leave this right now, if I stop doing this right now, it means I've failed, it means I've not accomplished anything. But then you forget to think about the fact that you invested much time into this. It means that you've accomplished something. That is an accomplishment on its own. A lot of people will start certain things and would never complete it in their lifetime just because they cannot commit to anything. But at least you committed to this set thing that you had interest in at some point in your life for a couple years or a couple months, and you saw it through, which in its own sense, a huge accomplishment a lot of times. But then because you feel like, oh my god, I failed, I'm useless, I'm this, which is your ego speaking, by the way, you end up getting stuck as compared to moving on to better things, to greater things. And honestly speaking, I genuinely believe there's no reward for suffering. That is the one word I would always say to my friends, to my family, anyone that comes to me for advice about certain things. I'm always saying there is no reward for suffering. No one is going to reward you just because you stayed at something for too long that you didn't want to do. No one's going to give you an award or Olympic gold medal just because you were in pain, but you decided to persevere and see through it. It doesn't apply to all areas of life. So if at any point you feel like something you're doing or something, a career path or a relationship or whatever it is draining you, you need to leave. Like yesterday, leave. Because at the end of the day, no one's going to reward you for staying in a situation that was toxic to you and wasn't helping you anyway. No one's going to say, oh my god, you stayed there, you did this for so long, okay, yeah, take this award. No. In my own personal life, for example, my dating life, how my ego shown up in certain ways. For example, I start talking to someone, maybe they ghost me, or they start to pull away emotionally after weeks have been invested or months have been invested into this said relationship we're developing, or maybe something in the relationship obviously isn't working. Instead of me to leave, when I notice these things are happening, or maybe when someone ghosts me, I start to chase the person. And honestly speaking, I don't know how my brain works or how it functions. These are things I'm trying to unlearn with the help of therapy and also self-improvement daily, which I try to practice. I start to chase the person, and in my mind it's like, why are you chasing something that doesn't want you? Someone has told you so many times, I don't want you, I don't want to have anything to do with you, but you start to chase. Please explain that to me. I don't know how to explain it to myself. But I noticed this toxic pattern in my own personal dating life, and it's not that I haven't gotten the clear communication or clear information from the person that they do not want me or they don't want to have anything to do with me, but I'm just trying to prove something to myself. You have to prove to myself that, oh my god, yes, I am desirable, or yes, I should be valued, or you know, I am someone of value. So of course the person should see my value. They should see that I am attractive enough. They should see that I am enough for them. Meanwhile, they've told me in so many different languages, which is silence, the main language, that they want nothing to do with me, but I'm trying to prove something to myself, prove something to my ego. And lately, this is something I've been working on super hard, because if these are things that if you don't work on, you get into toxic situationships. Is that even a thing? I don't know. Toxic relationships and toxic patterns that in the long run are very detrimental to yourself and to your own personal growth and personal self-development as a woman or as a person. And you know, like I said, when I'm in this mode or this psyche of chasing the person, it's not because I understand that me chasing them is because I want a real connection, I want love from the person, I want to love the person. I'm just trying to prove something to myself, prove, you know, that I'm desirable enough, I'm valued, or I can be loved and can love someone else. If at the foundation of a relationship was built on one's ego, it's never going to work, because there's no honesty and genuineness coming from both ends. One person is trying to prove something to someone or trying to prove something to themselves. Do you get what I mean? Anyways, how do you change this, and how do you come to a place of finally killing your ego and finally letting go of your ego and getting the life that is waiting for you, that is in front of you, and that is waiting for you to just open your heart up and accept this life? First things first, you always have to tell yourself, I don't have anything to prove to anyone, but you don't have to prove anything to your own self. And you have to just be okay. You just have to be okay with things not going the way you think you're supposed to go. It's okay to not be desired. It's okay to not have that certain thing or certain love or affection that you desire from a relationship or from a dating partner that you've been with for a couple of months now. It's okay if people don't like you. It's okay if no one sees the real you. You have to just sit down in that uncomfortableness and be okay with it. And honestly, it's not as easy as ABC, or it's not as easy as I'm saying it, because killing your ego can be scary, can be terrifying, because a lot of times our ego feels like a protection to us. It feels like pride, you know, it feels like your dignity. And that is just a lie, because when you look at it in hindsight, your ego keeps you stuck in a toxic circle. Not just toxic circle, but in a toxic situations of certain things that are happening or that shouldn't be happening in the first place. And sometimes your ego can convince you that pain is necessary. You have to experience this pain. You convince yourself that you get a reward for the pain you're experiencing, which of course there's no reward for suffering. Like I said earlier, if you don't kill your ego, or you don't experience an ego death, which of course I know is terrifying, in the long run you put yourself in danger, much more danger than you would expect or than you would wish or you'd have liked to have been in. And this is not physical danger, more or less emotional danger, mental danger, because over time you've time and time again not chosen yourself, but you've chosen validation from people, external validation or internal validation of you trying to prove yourself or trying to prove your worth or your value to someone or to something, which, to be honest, like I said, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. One thing you should understand is that ego feeds on external validation. So to be able to kill your ego, you have to have a transformative mindset. You have to have a different approach on how you look at things or how you look at life, or your view on certain situations or certain scenarios in your personal life. Instead of telling yourself, yes, I stayed and I proved something, start telling yourself, I left and I'm proud of myself for walking away from toxic situations. And that is leaving. Sometimes, not sometimes, but most of the times, is strength, and that is all you need. It's the only thing that can give you that boost. Do whatever it is you want to do in the future and to accomplish most things that you would dreamt of accomplishing for the longest time coming. In finally killing your ego, you have to look at a different way or a different view of how to satisfy your ego. Instead of thinking about satisfying your ego by chasing, by staying in toxic environment, or by trying to prove a point, you start to satisfy your ego in a new light, in a new way. And how do you do this? Number one, by choosing yourself, respecting yourself, setting boundaries and going through on the boundaries, standing 10 toes deep on your boundaries, like you stand on business. And sometimes walking away can be the greatest thing that can happen to you. You never know. And also choosing peace and having silence. Sometimes you don't have to feed off of chaos for life to feel exciting. Sometimes being in the most silent or the most peaceful place in your life can just be okay. And you have to sit with it just being okay. Even if it doesn't feel interesting to you, it doesn't feel familiar to you, sometimes that is okay. That feeling you have is okay, and you have to sit with yourself and tell yourself, you know what, I'm just gonna enjoy this moment right now. And tell yourself, I don't have to dwell in chaos for me to feel worthy, for me to feel validated. And in my closing thoughts, the moment you stop seeking external validation, your ego death begins. And once your ego death begins, you start to experience freedom. And that is how life starts to look like, all rainbows and sunshine for you. Freedom, rainbows and sunshine. You begin to have a la 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 land, la 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 land. You begin to have a Barbie La La Land life experience. Just to reiterate again, like I've said, sometimes growing doesn't mean holding on to a situation. Sometimes letting go means growth in itself. And by just doing that, maybe the life you want is on the other side of your ego. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's videos. Anyways, thank you guys for watching today's video. I hope this video has helped you as much as it has helped me in my own personal growth. I am still growing for myself. I'm still trying to figure out a way to kill my ego finally, and it's a process. It takes time, but the first step is making the conscious decision to do so. And yeah, can't wait to see you guys on the next video. And don't forget to subscribe, because like I said, Theodore is gonna come for you. And also, he has a new friend. Look at her. Her name is Normie. So these are my army of soldiers. So if you're not subscribing, they're not happy with you, and I am also not happy with you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment in the comments down below. And yeah, love you guys. Bye. And also, I got my braces removed. Let me know what you think about them in the comments down below. Bye.